Welcome to issue number 20 of Digital Display Insider. I'm your host, Jerry Teeter, and I'm really excited to be here with you again this week to continue on kind of where we left off last week with our issue that talked to billboard operators and kind of showed them this new opportunity that they may not have been thinking of mobile billboard trucks. But today I do want to shift gears just a little bit and talk to a huge audience here that's watching the newsletter, the videos, and it's a big group of you guys that are just kind of out there kind of watching, right? It's the group of you that have been thinking about starting a business for quite a while. Maybe you're not feeling satisfied with your job. Maybe you're not feeling that security you thought you would have. A lot of you might be asking yourself what's next in this life, or feeling like you could be doing more. Some of you are just feeling unappreciated in your job, or whatever your reasons are, you've been thinking about starting a business. And as I talk here, the question I want you to be thinking about and just trying to answer as we dive in here is, what's holding you back? You know, what's holding you back from taking that leap of faith to start out on a business, on that idea that you've got? And you know, only you can answer that. And so that's just what I want you to be thinking about. One thing that's a little different about this video is I have no notes, so I don't know where this is going to take us, but I've been an entrepreneur for pretty much my entire career, all just but a few months, and so I'll get into that here in just a second, but after the experience that I've had and where I'm at today, you could not pay me enough money to go work for someone else. And it's not just about the money, it's the experiences, the fulfillment that I get from making an impact in this world, not only for my customers but for our employees. You couldn't offer me enough at this point to go have a 9 to 5, work for someone else, be under someone else's control. And so that's what I want to maybe try to just inspire you, or to, you know, try to get you to make a decision and just move forward in an area. And so, you know, again, I'm not trying to pitch you anything on this one or sell you on anything other than to try to sell you on the fact of taking control of your future and making your own decisions rather than letting someone else make those decisions for you. My backstory, and I kind of got into this a little bit in the newsletter, is I started my first business when I just turned 21 years old. I'd had some little businesses through high school, mowing lawns and some different things, but my first real business I started pretty much out of the gate at 21. At that point, I'd only been working for a company for, you know, a year and a half, 2 years at the most, and so it was the job I had in college. It transitioned into a full-time job because after a year of college, I just realized college wasn't for me, and so I worked in a car dealership in their collections department, learned a ton about working with people. But ever since high school, I knew I wanted to own my own business. And so through that job at the car dealership, I learned about car shipping and some of the need there. And so at 21 years old, I bought a dually pickup and a 3-car trailer. And, you know, looking back, I'm glad I was very ignorant, because if I had just thought through everything, I probably would have been stuck in that place of fear of the unknown and fear of taking that step. But, you know, just that's really just who I am. Is I don't necessarily think through all the possibilities. I just see something, know I can do it, and start moving forward. And so that's what I did back then. And, you know, we grew it, made tons of mistakes. You know, we went through the first 10 years, and within that 10 years, grew it up to multiple $1 million a year in revenue. And through that experience, I learned there's a big difference between top line revenue and bottom line profit. And so while we were doing a ton of revenue, we were not profitable at all. And through some different circumstances that happened in the business, we weren't able to, you know, cash flow through those because we had just very thin margins. And, you know, man, I could spend hours talking about all the lessons learned and all the different things there. But long story short, we ended up having to close down that business after 10 years. It was in our 10th year of business that we had to close that down. And at that point, I made an agreement with my wife. I was going to do the safe thing, go get a job and have a salary and do the 9 to 5 and life was going to be great. And, it was okay for a few months, but I wasn't fulfilled. It wasn't what I wanted. I was really doing it for my family. But then within 6 months, just 6 short months, the owner of that business came in and um, told me he was going to shut it down. There was some other things going on in the core business, and he had hired me to start a car shipping service within his business. They were one of our customers, but it was taking just a little bit to get up and going. That he needed the resources that he was putting into that for the startup for the core business, and so he was just going to shut it down. And at the time, it scared me to death because we were only 6 months off this business failure. I was scared to go home and tell my wife that I didn't have a job anymore, and it was just kind of a dark point in my life. But sometimes what turns out to be what you think is the worst days of your life can end up being the biggest blessings in your life, because it forces you in directions that you might not otherwise take. And so through that, I had some conversations. We were able to come to an agreement where I could just buy the business rather than just shut it down. And that ended up being one of the best things that ever happened, because it allowed us to kind of reset and take the business in a direction that we wouldn't have chosen otherwise. And today now, we're 12 years into that, and we have a very successful car shipping business that's a leader in our industry. We have amazing partners. We have good margins now. It's a very stable, we call it steady Eddie. It's just very predictable, and it's just a great business serving a great client base. And I never would have got to where we're at today without going through that back then 12 years ago. And so the whole point of this is, at the time, I thought I was doing the secure thing to have a job where someone else was making my decisions for me, telling me what I was going to make, telling me what I was worth, telling me if I was going to have a job or not. And it's all just an illusion. It is just an illusion. It doesn't matter if you've been at your business for your job for a year or 10 years or 20 years. Within our industry, I just heard last week, the largest car shipping company, privately owned, that's been around for 100 years, just announced they're closing their doors because of financial issues and all kinds of issues. But how many of those people have been at that job for 15, 20, 30 years, thought they were in a secure job, and now all of a sudden they have no job? And so, people look at entrepreneurship and they just think it's this huge risk, but I would submit to you it's no more risky than a job. And at the end of the day, you can make the decisions. You're in the driver's seat. So if you fail, it's on your own back. It's not someone else telling you that you're no longer going to have a paycheck. The upside, though, my gosh, is infinitely times bigger than the opportunities you have working for someone else. And so on the other side of this, I can tell you that we're way farther ahead now in our just in our finances and what we have as a family than a lot of us ever thought we would be. I come from a small town, 1 year of college. I didn't come from money, but we've been able to build something for our family that has changed my family tree and is setting up our kids to the point to where, and I don't say this to brag, but more to encourage you, my wife and I were able to donate more money last year to the charities that mean a lot to us than what I made for most of the years of my career as an annual salary. And so the point there is that if you learn some lessons, you learn how to be teachable, you learn how to pay for education, and learn how to find mentors and to make strategic risks, then the opportunity, in my opinion, far outweighs the risk. And so if you've been on the fence of, starting a business, man, just get off the fence. Just take steps forward, and don't look at 20 or 40 or 60 steps down the road. Look at where you want to go, and then just start taking one step and one foot in front of the other. And if you don't know the answer to it, find a resource where you can. And for some of you, it might be starting a business from scratch. For some, it might be finding a franchise. Franchises are amazing opportunities to gain from other people's experience and mitigate that risk. There's some drawbacks to a franchise, and so if that's not for you, I've got some other options I can throw out there for you. We even offer one with our LED trucks and being able to help someone set up their business. We can help if marketing and advertising is something that you're interested in. We can help you with that. If franchises is of interest to you, I've got friends that are franchise brokers. They can help connect you to a business that would meet and fulfill your desires and what you're looking for. So the thing I just want to communicate in this video and to leave with you with today is, if you're not feeling fulfilled in your job, and that fulfillment is coming from a place of either not feeling appreciated, knowing you have more, wanting to know what else is out there, just wanting to control your own destiny, then I highly encourage you to just take action, stop waiting around, and just do something to move the ball forward down the field. And the fulfillment that you'll get from that you'll look back 5 years from now and wish you had started sooner. And so I hope that's helpful for you. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, this newsletter is more about starting a mobile billboard business, but there are lessons in here. We're going to get into some different marketing stuff, so it's not just about that. But if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. If you have questions about this whole topic of entrepreneurship, I do love talking about it. And so even if it's not related to the billboards, feel free to reach out to me, and I would love to just have those conversations with you. So I hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you next week for issue number 21.